Here we are again today. Okay, we're in our notes packet, Unit 3 notes packet. We are on notes in 3-2. Everybody make sure you find the notes page about the slope formula. That's what we're going to be learning today. And the slope formula is used to find the slope between 2 points. So when we have 2 points, we always have an x and a y at each point. Okay, and we label those, and we're going to label those today x1, y1 for the first point, and x2, y2 for the second point. And then we're going to use our slope formula. It's so fun, let me tell you. Okay, so the first thing we need to start with is the letter that we use for slope. And the letter that we use for slope is M. So we use the letter M. So M equals, and then we'll take these in the formula for slope. This is what you're going to use. You use y2 minus y1. This is really like y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x2 minus x sub 1. Okay, now this looks maybe a lot harder than it is, but let me show you our very first example, and you're going to be like, Miss, can we do this every day? And I'm going to be like, yeah, let's do a slope formula. All right, so first I'm going to take, I'm going to consider this my first point, and this is my second point. Remember, each point has an x and a y. So I'm going to label this x1. So that first one is going to be x1, that second one is going to be y1. And then I'm going to label this x2 because the first point is x. This is our second point though. The first number is x, and this is our second point. And then I'm going to label this one, this 3, y2. And that's really hard for you to see with my marker, but this says x2 and y2. Let's see if we can get a nice zoom here. All right, so now I'm going to plug these numbers into this formula. So M equals, so slope equals, y2 is 3. So wherever I see a y2, I'm going to plug a 3. So 3. Then I see a minus, so minus y1. y1 is 1. So I'm going to put a 1. All over x2 is 4. So 4 minus x1, which is 1. Okay, and then we can subtract to solve. Here in a minute, I'm going to show you really how to do it in the calculator. It's super awesome. But if you do 3 minus 1, you get 2. And 4 minus 1, you get 3. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you cannot simplify that fraction. For those of you who don't know how to do that, you can just put that in your calculator. You can do, did you know you can get a fraction by doing alpha x? Like, you don't have to hit alpha y equals and then enter. You can just hit alpha x. Let me do that again. Alpha x. Awesome. So we get a fraction, and you can just type in 2 over 3. And then you can hit enter. And if it's the same fraction, that means it doesn't simplify. If it changes the fraction, that means it's simplified. All right, so let's do example number 2, and we're going to go through this one a little bit quicker. So we're using our formula. Well, first I'm going to label my points. x1, y1. Okay, so my first points are my 1s. My second points are going to be x2, y2. I try to draw that a little neater. Hopefully you can read it this time. So then we're going to start with our formula. M equals, and we know it's y2, so negative 2. We have a minus sign in our formula, minus y1, which is 4, over x2, which is 10, minus x1, which is negative 2. So minus a negative 2. So what happens when we have a double negative is that makes an addition sign. So what I like to do is I like to take my 2 negatives and connect them with a big addition sign. That way, because I normally wouldn't draw my addition sign like that, but that way I know something happened to make that addition. Addition is not in the formula. It is subtraction. So now we can go ahead and subtract negative 2 minus 4, negative 2 minus 4 equals negative 6. And then we know that 10 plus 2 is 12. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and simplify this fraction if we can. If not, we can go ahead and box it up, and that's it. So remember, to get your fraction, you can hit alpha x. So new. I love learning new tricks. And negative 6 over 12. Then you can hit enter, and we would get negative 1/2. And this right here would be our final answer of the slope. All right, so now on the next one, the first step is going to, or the first, I guess, 2 steps is going to be the same, but I'm going to show you how to put the whole thing in your calculator and not have to worry about the double negatives or anything like that. So let's go ahead and look at number 3. Okay, keeping in mind that we are going to use the same slope formula. I'm going to go ahead and label these x1, y1, and x2, y2. And then we can fill in our equation. So m equals, y2 is negative 5, minus y1, which is positive 5, over x2, which is negative 8, minus negative 4. Okay, so instead of going through and changing any signs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my fraction on my, I'm trying to get this so there's no glare here. I'm going to start with my fraction on my calculator. So I'm going to hit alpha x to get a fraction. Now on top, I'm going to type in this math problem. Negative 5 minus 5. Negative 5 minus 5 over negative 8 minus a negative 4. Okay, do you see the difference in those negatives on my calculator? The subtraction sign is bigger and the negative is smaller and a little bit up. Okay, so then we can hit enter. And what this is going to do, it's going to do the math problems for us. It's going to simplify the fraction and we're going to be done. So hit enter. And so you would get 5 over 2. All right, and that's it. So let's go ahead and do number 4. So we would say x1, y1, x2, y2, and then let's plug it in. So m equals 4 minus 0 over negative 2 minus 10. Let's put that in our calculator. Alpha x, 4 minus 0, negative 2 minus 10, and you get negative 1/3. See how much quicker that can be? But you really have to make sure you know which points are which, and then you can just plug it in and put it in that calculator. All right, let's look at 5 and 6 here. Now I'm going to have to get away from the formula for you, but I still think that you're capable of doing it. So this is going to be m equals 9 minus 9 over 3 minus 5. And what I forgot to do was label my points, so I'm going to go back and do this. This is x1, y1, x2, y2. And then I just plugged them in the formula that was at the top of my page. Now I'm going to plug this in my calculator. 9 minus 9 over 3 minus 5. And we get 0. So remember, if we get a 0 slope, what kind of line is this? This would be a horizontal line. Any horizontal line is always going to have a slope of 0. So I'm just writing the horizontal line part in there, just so you can remember it. All right. Looking at number 6. Let's do number 6. Negative 7 is x1. 8 is y1. Negative 7 is x2. 5 is y2. Let's plug those into our slope formula. So m equals 5 minus 8 over negative 7 minus negative 7. Notice how I said minus negative 7, and this minus should be bigger, and that negative should be smaller because that is a subtraction sign and a negative sign. Remember, in real life, it doesn't matter. For some reason on your calculator, it does. So just make sure you pay attention to when you put a minus and when you put a negative. So this would be 5 subtract 8 over negative 7 subtract negative 7. Hit enter. Uh-oh, so when we get an error, when it says error, divide by 0, this is our slope that doesn't have a number, and what we call this slope is undefined. And the line that has an undefined slope is a vertical line. So horizontal lines have 0 slopes. Undefined lines, or vertical lines, have undefined slopes. Okay, so again, we're writing that in just because these are our notes and they're supposed to help us when we refer back. Let's do a few more. I think we have about 6 more, and we'll go through these a little bit quicker than we've been going. So number 7, we got x1, y1, x2, y2, and then we're plugging it in our slope formula. So m equals 3 minus 9 over 2 minus, so subtract a negative 1. Okay, And then I'm going to plug that into my calculator. Alpha x, look at that, get my fraction so quick. 3 minus 9, 2 minus negative 1 equals negative 2. All right, we're done with that one. All right, let's look at number 8. x1, y1, x2, and y2. So m equals negative 2 minus 13 over 6 minus a negative 4. Let's go ahead and plug that into our fraction. So alpha x, by the way, credit to Nick Meza for that trick. He showed it to me. I would have never known if it wasn't for that kid. And then 6 minus negative 4, and we got enter. And so my slope here would be negative 3 over 2. Okay, and remember when we're finding slope, this is slope from 2 points. What we did yesterday was slope from a line. This is still rise over run, rise over run, rise over run. All right, let's look at the last 2 on this page, and then we have 2 more on the next page. So let's see, number 9 here, we're going to go through these as quickly as I can. We have x1, y1, x2, y2. So put it in our formula. We start with y2, which is 5, minus y1, which is 6, over x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is 5. So something tricky about this is just keeping your points straight. That's why I label them every single time. Because you see how there's so many, there's just 5s and 6s in this problem. And that can really get confusing if you don't label your points. So just practice labeling them. So alpha x, I'm going to call that the Nick trick. 5 minus 6 over 6 minus 5. Hit enter, and we get negative 1. All right, let's look at number 10. x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have m equals negative 4 minus a negative 4 all over 1 minus 9. So alpha x, the Nick trick, negative 4 minus negative 4 over 1 minus 9. Going to give me 0. So 0 slope means that this is a horizontal line. Okay, so it's just important for us to try and remember that as best we can. All right, let's flip over. I think we have 2 more on the back here. And then there's more to these notes, but we're only going to do the last 2 of finding slope. Because then we have to go backwards, and I really want you to practice going forwards before you have to go backwards. All right, let's go ahead and check this out. Remember, label your points x1, x1 and y1, x2 and y2. And then so m equals y2, which is negative 3, minus y1, which is negative 9, all over x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is 5. Plugging that into my Nick trick. That's alpha x, negative 3, minus negative 9, all over 3 minus 5. And you hit enter, and you get negative, well, you can't see it, but you get negative 3. So negative 3 is our slope. Our slope. Now, remember I said slope is rise over run, so if you have a whole number, that would be your rise. Well, what is it would it be over? What would be our run? How do we keep that whole number without changing its value? Well, you would just put it over 1. And with that, we're going to come into that more. I just wanted to kind of show it to you now. So next, number 12, the very last one we're going to do today. So we're going to take and label our points first. This is going to be x1. This is going to be y1. And then we have an x2 and a y2. Now let's plug that into our slope formula. So we have 8 minus 6, y2 minus y1 over 4 minus 4. All right, let's plug that into our Nick trick. Does anybody, I hope maybe some of you could see what's going to happen here, what kind of slope that is. What could happen? Alpha x, 8 minus 6, 4 minus 4, and you're going to hit enter. Uh-oh, divide by 0. That means something. That means there's no number for this slope, that this slope is undefined. So an undefined slope means we have a vert line. We got that vertical line. All right, that's all I got for you. Great job. See you later.